Well, a Mesa public school teacher has now been placed on administrative leave after allegedly holding a satanic pitchfork in the classroom and chanting "Hail Satan" to students while waving the pitchfork around. Wow. Maybe a little more screening would be nice. The incident came to public attention when concerned parent Chris Hamlet took to social media to describe a troubling encounter involving his son and the teacher, Jesse Ruiz, at Mesa High School. In his post, Hamlet detailed the teacher's alleged actions, which included wearing horns, brandishing that pitchfork, and screaming "Hail Satan" each time a student walked into the classroom. In addition to these allegations, Hamlet disclosed that several weeks prior, an inappropriate altercation occurred between his son and the geometry teacher. This time, Ruiz accused Hamlet's son of harboring homophobic sentiments due to his Christian beliefs. Ruiz is openly homosexual, Hamlet claims. Here with me to discuss this story is TPUSA correspondent Morgonnn McMichael. Morgannn, good to have you back.
Thank you for having me back on.
I mean, it's appropriate the week of Halloween. You have a horror story like this from the classroom. Good Lord. I mean, are we not screening teachers? Are we not putting the students first? Are we hiding behind unions? Oh, they've got their rights. This person has no right to traumatize students or to chastise any of them for their beliefs. But he wouldn't do it to a Muslim. He wouldn't do it to a Jewish student. He would do it to a Christian student. That's what bothers me about this story most. Tell me about your thoughts.
Me too. I mean, there is Christian slander that happens in majority of public schools, and it's always the Christian students that are coming under fire. I mean, in the article as well, this teacher directly put the pitchfork in front of the student's face after he had asked the student to stop and to remove it. So this teacher is blatantly disrespecting his students and then saying that his student is singling him out because he's gay. No, maybe this just isn't appropriate for a math class, and we should be teaching our next generation math instead of screaming "Hail Satan" in the classroom. It's completely inappropriate behavior, and I'm glad that this teacher is on leave. And that goes for any type of subject. Maybe don't dress up as a Muslim and say something. Don't dress up of anything that's genuinely appropriating someone else's religion or culture because it's disrespectful. And if you're genuinely being disrespectful to your students and singling them out like this, it's not okay behavior as a teacher.
Yeah, maybe it's not that he's gay. Maybe it's quite simply that he's a jackass. I'm just throwing that out there for consideration. Morgannn, I don't mean to shock you on a Friday, but let's just be honest. There are people in front of our children in elementary, middle schools, and high schools across this country that have no business being in a classroom for a variety of reasons that would be disqualifying in any normal setting in America. But we allow these people to come in and teach our children that should not be there. So the question then becomes, how do we make it better? How do we get better candidates? How do we get better teachers that aren't doing this nonsense? You know, talk about, isosceles triangles. Don't talk about being gay or praising Satan. How about that? Huh?
I mean, that's what we need is some real education to these kids. Like, if it's not appropriate for the classroom and the subject that they're learning, then just don't do it. I don't think it's that hard to not have a pitchfork, even if he's claiming that it was done as a joke. But even as a joke, it's not funny. That's not something you just joke about. We just need to start teaching our kids real education and screening these teachers better. I mean, now we're even having binary teachers and people teaching in the classrooms this gender theory. That also has got to go. Why can't we just continue to stick to the basics and actually educate the next generation properly?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. And for anybody that doesn't know, my grandmother taught public school for 44 years. My mother taught public school for 32 years. I'm very well acquainted with teachers. My grandmother taught first grade. My mother taught fifth grade primarily. So between these two very accomplished women, I learned a lot about the world, about reading, writing, respect, arithmetic, how to conduct yourself in a classroom, social training. The problem with what happens here is these kids are not properly socialized. They're socialized to be animals. They don't behave. You can say anything, do anything. Nobody's held accountable. That creates adults that behave the same way. Where am I wrong?
You're not wrong at all. Also, this happened at a high school, and the fact that a high school student is standing up to his teacher, I applaud him, because high school is the area where kids are scrutinized for everything that they believe. Cancel culture is rampant in Gen Z, and I think it's going to take a lot more students standing up for their beliefs, standing up for absolute truth, and going out there and going against their administrations in their school classrooms, because this is happening not just at Mesa Public School, but at schools across the country.
Absolutely. We need to clean up our act out there, as my mother would have said. Clean up your act. Yes, Mom. Morgan McMichael, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing these stories. These stories, in order for people to appreciate the things that are happening, they have to hear about them. And unfortunately, the corporate media is not going to do that for you, but we'll do that for you here. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
All right. After the break, pro-Palestinian Harvard students assaulted an unarmed Jewish kid, but filmed the faces of students participating in a Stop the Genocide in Gaza protest. Where am I? What planet am I on? We'll have it all after the break.